The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment.
Good day, welcome to our live news network. I am Salome Haladbo. Here are the headlines. Trump says Iran faces last chance for deal. NEC approves refinancing of NNPCL. Project Gazelle National Policing Bill enters 7-week drafting phase. Adeleke alerts Tinubu over Osun State's genocide. Lagos State ready to host 2026 CAF Awards. Now the news in detail. The U.S. President Donald Trump says fresh talks between Washington and Tehran represent what he described as Iran's last chance to reach an agreement and avoid an escalation of U.S. military strikes. Speaking at the White House, Trump said the negotiations are expected to focus on reopening the Strait of Hormuz and addressing U.S. concerns over Iran's nuclear program. He added that an update on the talks could come within the next day. According to the U.S. president, the first phase of the discussions would be the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, while the second phase would focus on Iran's nuclear program, a process he said would take more time. Despite recent U.S. military gains against Iranian targets, analyst says Tehran appears to be relying on a prolonged conflict, betting that domestic political pressure and the approaching U.S. midterm election could make it more difficult for Washington to sustain the war. The National Economic Council (NEC) has approved the proposal by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) to refinance the remaining balance of its $3.3 billion Project Gazelle oil-backed loan. The decision was taken during Monday's virtual meeting of the Council. It paves the way for a new $4.5 billion financing arrangement known as Project Gazelle 2, which will replace the outstanding balance of the original deal signed in 2023. According to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, the new facility offers Nigeria better borrowing terms, reduces the amount of crude oil tied to the agreement, and provides additional funding for key government projects. At the meeting, Vice President Kashim Shettima also called on federal, state, and local government to strengthen social protection programs to help reduce poverty and improve the welfare of Nigerians. Chairman of the Presidential Working Group on the National Policing Bill and Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the committee will submit the executive bill on state policing to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on September the 3rd. He said the bill is designed to provide a legal and operational framework for the proposed state police system. According to him, state police will only become operational after the ongoing constitutional amendment process is completed. Gbajabiamila said the federal government remains committed to decentralized policing, but stressed that the new system must not undermine national unity or the rule of law. He also warned that state police must not become political tools, saying no elected official should be able to use the police to intimidate political opponents, suppress lawful political activities, or selectively enforce the law. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has alleged that extrajudicial killings are taking place in the state and called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene, urging him not to ignore the situation. Speaking at the Accord Party's governorship campaign rally in Osogbo, Adeleke reminded the president that he and his party had already endorsed him for a second term ahead of the 2027 general elections. He appealed to Tinubu to act as a father figure by ensuring the safety of residents. The governor also warned against any attempt to manipulate the August 15 governorship election, saying the people of Osun would resist efforts to undermine the electoral process. Adeleke further accused the police of taking sides in the state's political crisis and cautioned against the repeats of the violence that followed the 1983 general elections, urging all stakeholders to work towards a peaceful poll. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the state is fully prepared to host the 2026 CAF Awards following an inspection of the proposed venue by officials of the Confederation of African Football (CAF). A 5-member CAF delegation visited the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Art, also known as the National Theatre, as part of an assessment of facilities for both the CAF Awards and the organization's 48th Ordinary General Assembly. The delegation was led by CAF's Head of Safety and Security, Dr. Christian Emirewa, alongside officials responsible for technology, travel and accommodation, transport and branding. The team was received by officials of the Lagos State Sports Commission, led by Director General Lekan Fatodu, who accompanied them on inspection of the National Theatre. That will be all for now. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. I am Salome Oladipo.
The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build communities. They will build influence. ANN was created for this moment.